So today I'm in our London office just outside of Watford. This is more of a satellite office. Our main headquarters is just outside of Leicester, where the majority of our team is based. However, this is primarily where we operate Joe Jingles and Talking Tots, which were two acquisitions that I done a couple of years ago. So Talking Tots was the first in September 2020, and Joe Jingles was the following year in October 2021. Both of those were actually turnaround scenarios. Joe Jingles is probably the better example of that. So when we took over Joe Jingles in October was when we officially took control, but their year end was in August, and that year they posted a loss of just under £100,000. Which can be seen on our company accounts. Fast forward a year to August 2022, and we posted a net profit of just over 40, but we had a lot more extra costs in there that were more at like group level that was running through Joe Jingles. So really, when you add those back, the actual net profit for that was around about sort of 65, which was, it's not setting the world alight, but going from minus nearly 100 to plus sort of 65 in just over it was 12 months exactly, is, I'm pleased. So yeah, it just sort of shows really what's sort of capable with these turnarounds when you actually sort of do them right. Now, one of the things about Joe Jingles that really attracted me to Joe Jingles in particular was just its heritage. I mean, this business was founded in the mid-90s. It's done a lot of fundraising, so it's a children's activity brand. This is one of the fundraising plaques that we have, one of many, may I add. This is just from 2019, and as you can see, the franchise network have raised just over £100,000, 104,000 to be precise. Joe Jingles as a brand has raised money for a couple of different charities. Tommy's is a very big one, and they've been doing it for many years. When you look at the collective sort of fundraising, it must be probably just over about £1 million now, I think, which is it's just so incredible. I just find it amazing. It was well before my time. I've got I can't claim any of that. But what I love about it is that it really aligns with my morals and my ethics, and exactly the reason why I'm in this sector, children's education. But going back to sort of Joe Jingles and specifically the turnaround. So when we came to acquire that, the owner at the time who founded this business had tried to sell the business previously. In fact, they've been trying to sell it for 5 years, but they just never got across the line. They got close a couple of times, but when it actually came to it, they just couldn't get the business sold. They couldn't get it across the line, which I think is really insightful, because they're not alone. That can be the case with a lot of small businesses, particularly when the owners have sort of assumed they spent sort of the best part of 20, 30 years building these companies, and the owners have assumed that it's going to sell easily and it's going to be, all cash up front, and they're going to sail off into the sunset, quite literally in most cases, with their sort of healthy retirement pot. But the reality is it doesn't always work out that way for sellers, and it actually really pulls at my heart in many ways, because it's just down to an awareness thing. Just in itself, so many business owners are surprised when they realise they're not going to get 100% cash on day one when they sell the business. It just doesn't happen. If you are a business owner and you've done that, bravo, and I truly mean that. But it's just been such an exception. I've personally never seen it, not at the sort of the SME level. When you get a little bit higher and you've got sort of private equity involved, then yes, those scenarios can happen, but even then, it's not all the time. But when we came to acquire this, the owner was it was a highly motivated seller, and the owner was really just done. She just had another grandchild come along, wanted to spend a lot more time with all of her grandchildren, and was just done. Her finance director, a really lovely guy she'd been working with for quite some years, a very astute guy as well. I think he was looking to sort of move on from the business and make other plans. So we came in at sort of the low end of the market really, when the business had really dropped in performance. The sellers' motivation was extremely high. They had what you would call deal fatigue, so they'd been through trying to sell the business sort of several, well, I think it was 5 times altogether. They tried to sell the business and each one of them had failed and they were just done. Now, as a buyer, that creates a very favourable circumstance. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're not going in and taking these businesses off their hands for nothing. I mean, we still had this was a 6-figure consideration that we paid for this business. But the important bit, and the bit I really want to sort of emphasize in this video, is that we didn't pay 6 figures on day one. Well, myself, I barely paid 5 figures, if I'm honest, on day one. And more importantly, that 5-figure, very low 5-figure, it was just over £10,000. I got that back within a month, literally within 30 days of paying that. So we'd assumed a little bit of the debt, and that was fine. All that debt is gone now, but fundamentally the acquisition was a no money down acquisition. It was an acquisition that really aligned with the sellers, sort of where they were at and their motivations. I still keep in contact with the seller now. In fact, I had an email from her a couple of weeks ago just asking how things were going and sort of wishing us all the best. It was all very, very positive, very friendly terms. But you know, these deals are out there. These deals where you can, as a buyer, as a moral and ethical buyer, where your intentions are pure and you're very transparent about that. You know, you can go in and you can get some really phenomenal deals, really. But it's phenomenal for both sides of the party. Is the point I'm trying to make. It's not just, you know, some people think this is about going in and taking their business from underneath them and then running off, and this is not what it's about. And if you are going into M&A with those intentions, I would I think you need to look in the mirror very hard and ask, is that right? But yeah, the most successful people that I know who are actively acquiring businesses and who have acquired multiple businesses like myself, they all share a very similar ethos in which it's about sort of moral alignment, ethical alignment, and when that happens, truly, magic can happen. As a business, this has gone from a stinking loss to a very healthy sort of low profit, but it's only just the beginning. In fact, today, the reason I'm here in our London office is that we're having a strategy meeting. We've just appointed a non-exec to come and help us with this, in terms of formulating the strategy, really identifying where we're going to take this as a business over the next few years. But I've got no doubt in my mind that this is going to become a powerhouse in its own right. All with practically zero financial risk. So if you are interested in learning how to do acquisitions like this, learning how to do them the right way, and not just doing the acquisition, that's the easy part. I mean, buying the business is the easy part. It's what you do with them when you've got it. That's the key, and that's where the value is. So if you are interested in finding out more, drop me a direct message and let's have a chat.